Hello, I'm the Easy Vegan, and you can find out more about all this stuff at my website, theeasyvegan.com. And now I'm going to show you how easy it is to make a delicious vegan dinner. No frills. This is just a very basic and very tasty dinner and very healthy dinner that I make for myself all the time. And to start with, I'm going to put some rice in the rice cooker. So I'll grab my rice. I like to use jasmine rice. At the moment I have some white jasmine rice, but probably you're going to get a little more protein and roughage or something if you use the brown. I alternate. And it's, I find that 1/3 of a cup of the rice is fine for one portion. And then, of course, you just put twice as much water in. I love this rice cooker. It was a gift from a good friend, and I use it constantly. At first I thought, what do I need that for? I can just boil up some water at the stove, you know, but it actually, it's better. And it's also quicker. And that's one of the emphases for the Easy Vegan, which is to do things quickly. So, there you go. Plug it in. Turn it on. Always have to remember to turn on a rice cooker. It's not enough just to plug it in. Is that turned on? Yeah, there's the light. Okay, so that's 1/3 of the meal right there, taking care of itself. The second third of the meal will be the tofu, and I bought that in a typical portion at the store, which looks like this. 14 ounces, I guess, is the way it usually comes. I get the firm tofu. You can, figure out which kind you prefer. And then I slice it up. That 14-ounce piece of tofu I slice up into 4 slices, roughly a little less than a 1/4 pound each, and I use one at a time, and then the others I store in the refrigerator in some water, rinse it off a little bit. I'm just making this up as I go along. I don't know if you're supposed to do that or not. Somebody must have shown me that at some point, and so I just adopted the habit, but who knows? And then, so here's, as I say, a little less than a 1/4 pound, which is like one portion, I think, and just very simply cut it up into bite-sized pieces. Take a closer look at that. Okay, and then I don't use oil in my cooking at all. I heard John Mackey, the founder of what's it called, Whole Foods, at a lecture once, and he said that it's healthier not to use oil, any oil at all. Even that Mediterranean diet, he says, is not as healthy as one that would not have any oil in it at all. I still have oil in salad dressing and so forth, but for cooking, I just boil or steam things. So I've got, let's say, about a cup of water here. Which I'm just going to bring to a boil. And I usually like to use a wok like this, but this wok is out of commission at the moment. Don't ask why, but I really love using a wok, okay? But at the moment I'm just using this large pot. And here is the real secret. This is what makes it totally simple and totally tasty. This is a vegetable broth mix, and that particular brand is one that Seitenbacher, which appeals to my taste buds. There are probably various brands of this, but this is the one that did it for me. So you use a heaping teaspoon of this stuff in a cup of water. See, that's what it looks like. And it's got all sorts of nice things in it. It's got let's see, nutritional yeast extracts, sea salt, carrots, onions, turmeric root, leek, parsley, nutmeg, garlic, lavage, celery, pepper, balm, dill, paprika. That's what's in there. Okay? So that makes a broth. You know, that's something you could just eat itself or drink itself. But it adds just the right taste to the meal that I'm making now. So I will now put the tofu in there. Can you see? And that will come to a boil. And I'll put the top on it, because you do want to have the tofu soaking up the broth. I had to hit it down because I dropped that and it distorted the shape of it, so now to close it entirely I have to pound it down. Okay, I don't know why I dropped it. That was a very unusual event. Anyway, so that's 2/3 of the meal. And then the third is the Fiesta La Resistance, a dark green leafy vegetable. And boy, do I love dark green leafy vegetables. I mean, I just look forward to it, you know, every day for dinner. And there's so many varieties of dark green leafy vegetables. Now this is, I guess, collard green, and I'm actually getting to know the different vegetables now, you know. And you know, I mean, what is there? There's broccoli, of course, broccoli rabe. There's all kinds of greens, you know. There's turnip green, and there's oh, what are they? There's just a million different names for them. And you just go to the store, you know, to the produce section and try out different ones. They might have to be heated up slightly differently, one from another. You just learn from practice. But for most of them, you can do just what I'm doing now, which is you know, clean them off, of course. Oh, Swiss chard, that's one of my real favorites to use. That doesn't even need the vegetable broth with it. It's so tasty all by itself. And then what I tend to do is remove the leafy stuff from the stem, if it's a big thick stem like this. You know, I don't particularly want to eat that stem. I don't know, maybe you can. You can try it out for yourself. I'm not sure of the nutritional value or disvalue of that, but with a thick stem like this, I would usually leave it aside. Okay? And boy, I use a lot of this stuff. I mean, I can fill that whole big pot there for one portion of dark green. Now this is going to give you your calcium, you know, in addition to whatever else green vegetables give you. But the vegan has to be careful about making sure there's enough calcium in the diet. Turn this heat down a bit because I can see it steaming there. Alright. There's some hot water for tea that I'm also making. And this is really it, folks, because then, you know, once I've got enough of this dark green leafy stuff here, I just toss it into that big pot and let it boil or steam for really just a couple minutes at most. I mean, this just takes no time at all to do. You certainly don't want to overcook these things. Okay, I would use more than this, but just to finish up the video now, I'll just throw this right in to show you exactly what I'm doing. There's that tofu that's getting nice and, what would you call it, browned, even though it's just boiling, really. So I just toss in the vegetable, close this up again, and you know, in 2 minutes, it's done.